Okay, so now
Yeah.
you go from sitcoms to Fear Factor. So how the hell did that
Yeah.
happen? And why did you
Well, it
do it?
happened. NBC came up to me with the idea because I was on NBC previously, and they liked me. And then part of the thing was that I didn't want to work with actors anymore. I was happy that Fear Factor was no actors, and I was like, oh, good. This is easier to do. It's just me talking to people, and since I had a background in coaching, because I had coached a lot of people at tournaments, in competition, and I taught a lot at Boston University. I taught at my own school. With Taekwondo, I was used to teaching people, and I was used to encouraging people and getting people motivated. And I knew how to get fired up for competition. I
So
understood.
you were actually one of the rare people in the world who was actually trained to be the right host for Fear Factor.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Luckily, fortuitously, because I would, when someone was nervous and they're about to do something, I could grab them and go, look at me, you could do this. This is going to define you. If you back off right now and you get scared and you give in to your fears and your anxieties, this is going to define you. Or if you just press forward and realize you can do this and succeed, it will define you in a positive way, and you'll build momentum in that direction. You can do this. And I was really good at giving people pep talks. I was really good at firing people up. And it was part of the gig that it was completely unexpected, because I thought the gig was just going to be these people do these crazy things, and I make fun of it, which is part of my job, and we all cheer, and it would all play itself out because it was a reality show. It was sort of a game show / reality show. It was like a hybrid. But somewhere along the line, especially when they became really nervous, it was very intense. And there was moments where I wanted these people to win. I wanted these people to do their best. I wanted these people to succeed. And to be able to encourage someone.
Trading, man, and
Yeah.
that's the basis of psychotherapy. So, it's really something to get people to face their fears. I mean, you were doing it in a very idiosyncratic way, a very unique way. But
yeah,
imagine it was psychologically compelling very often. Got any particular stories from that time? You got a good story from Fear Factor?
Well, there was one time where there was this a family. It was a father and a son competing against a mother and the daughter. And the father and the son were kind of jerks, which was part of the competition. There was a lot of trash talking, but they were really cocky, and they thought that they were going to win, and it was, they had the parent and child teams had gotten down to 2, and it was the man and his son versus the woman and her daughter. And everybody thought these jerks were going to win, and we were kind of bummed out about it. But the woman and her child, they just rose to the occasion. And I mean, I remember talking to them and firing them up, but I didn't know if they could do it.
What was the challenge?
It was some crazy thing that they had to climb and do this thing. And I don't really remember all of it. Like, they had to gather flags. It was all for time. But the son, the kind of jerky son, the jerky dad, they kept screwing up, and they fucked up because, they'd kind of taken it for granted that they were going to win.
Uh-huh.
And when the pressure hit them, and they knew it was all on the line, a lot of times jerks are just insecure. And when they're under pressure, when they're really faced with real pressure, like, this is the real moment. Who are you really? Fuck all that talk. Who are you really? They fall apart. And the mother and the daughter won. And you're talking about a hardened crew of people that had watched people eat animal dicks and jump out of helicopters for season after season, episode after episode. We did 100 and something shows, I don't even remember how many shows, like probably 140 episodes of that show. Everybody cried. The camera people, like, I'll cry now if I'm thinking about it. when
So
the mother and the daughter won.
So affecting. I mean, there's a justice
so
component to it, right? There's a comeuppance.
It was a comeuppance. It was an underdog. It was just seeing their spirit, you know, when they were figuring out a way to win, watching them win, like to this day.
I'll tell you, one of the things that makes me really happy about this interview so far is that, like, I have a tendency to tear up in interviews, as you may have noticed, but this time it was you, so I'm quite pleased about that. It's a very touching story, though, man. You do, eh?
Yeah, but particularly like that, I don't tear up for sad things. I tear up for happy things. You know,
that's an interesting thing to think about too, because it's not exactly happy, right? It's because, you know, when these people come up to me and they tell me their stories, that often makes me tear up, because it's like this blast of dead, bloody seriousness with a happy ending, you know. So it's a comedy because it's a happy ending, but it's rough and affecting, and it that makes me tear up. And I think my proclivity, I've always kind of had that ever since I was a kid, but it seems to have come back.
Me too.
Well, you too, eh? Huh.
Yeah, always. But it's always been happy things. It's never been sad things. It's very hard to get me to cry with sad things. Sad
triumph.
Things I sort of just, triumph, success.
Yeah.
People pulling through, like post-fight interviews when I work for the UFC. When someone has like a particularly incredible performance, I have to fight off tearing up. I feel so happy for them.
Isn't it strange that it's that same response to sorrow? It's the same response to sorrow and triumph. That tearing up. You know, like, what the hell's up with that? I don't understand that at all. I mean, I guess it's also kind of a sign of empathy.
Yes, it is definitely a sign of empathy. But what's also odd is that with sad things, I can objectively analyze them, and I cannot get sad. I can understand that this is just life, and it is what it is. And I mean, I won't feel good, but I won't start weeping. I don't weep for like sad things the way I weep for happy things.
So that's interesting. So in some sense, you've trained yourself to detach yourself from that kind of sorrow, but not to detach yourself from triumph.
I can rationalize and understand sorrow. I can internalize it. I get it. I know what it is. And, you know, I just get so happy for people sometimes when things go well.
Yeah. One of my guilty pleasures is I really like America's Got Talent and the BBC equivalent. What the hell's the BBC equivalent? Is it the X Factor?
Something like that. Yeah.
And it does the same thing to me. I'd see somebody slub themselves out there on the stage looking pretty damn dreadful in about 4 different dimensions, and then like knock it out of the park. It really, it's really something to,
there's something amazing. Well, because I think as a human being, you realize how hard it is to overcome competition or these difficult moments, or these moments when you're tested. And you know there's fears and insecurities that these people have to battle, as well as the actual physical task in front of them. There's so much going on, and there's so much anticipation and nerves and anxiety involved in that to see someone triumph. I mean, I am a student of human will. I love stories of discipline and success. I don't like bad stories. I don't even like going to movies where they're sad. When people tell me about sad movies, I'm like, stop. I'm not going to that movie. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I'm not interested. I know what sadness is. I've been sad. I get it. I'm not interested in getting that in a form of entertainment. I like success. I like seeing people triumph. I like seeing the human spirit manifest itself in spectacular ways.
Yeah.